I have two example 7s in the notes, so I'm going to do example 7A and example 7B. Example 7A, write a conditional statement that's equivalent to the statement, the professor is in the classroom or the class has not begun. So P would be, the professor is in the classroom. And Q, the class has begun. And then the given statement is P or not Q. Looking over, P or not Q is kind of the opposite of this, but notice the negations are backwards. So we do want this, but with backward negations. This will be equivalent to, instead of negation P, we got P, so we're going to get negation P to be the opposite, implies negation Q. Okay, that way we make both of these opposite of what they were here. So both of these will be opposite. And then we can write that in words. If the professor is not in the classroom, then the class has not begun. So the second example 7, example 7b, for the conditional statement, if I do well in math, then I do well in physics, write the converse, the inverse, and the contrapositive. So let's write our statement first. P, if I do well, I do well in math. Q, I do well in physics. So we have P implies Q, or if P, then Q. Let's remember that the converse is if Q, then P, or Q implies P. The inverse is if not P, then not Q, just negating both. And the contrapositive is both negation and switching order. So if not Q, then not P. So we're given, if I do well in math, I do well in physics. And so our converse is switching the order. If I do well in physics, then I do well in math. Our inverse is keeping the order the same, but negating. So if I don't do well in math, then I don't do well in physics. And the contrapositive, as our last, we switch and we negate. So we started with if I do well in math, then I do well in physics. So it will be if I don't do well in physics, then I don't do well in math.